it might be a good idea for you to have some of your savings in a foreign currency like the USD. Hi, my name is Francis. I'm a freelancer going on almost a decade. And on this channel, we'll talk about everything freelancing, productivity, and personal finance for freelancers. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe. So leave your comments in the comment section if you have any questions or if you have any contributions to this topic. If you have any personal experiences, have you saved in the dollar? Has it been good to you? Do you think it's wise? From my position, I am a freelancer and I do have access to the foreign currency directly. So that's the perspective I'm speaking from. But I want to hear from you guys, those of you who may not have access to US dollars or you're getting paid in Nigerian naira. Have you tried to use your naira to get dollars and maybe it beats you in the backside or you gain from it? Let me know what you think about this topic. Now, these are personal experiences of mine and you can pick some of the ideas or stuff I do personally to maybe help you make some decisions for yourself. Now, the first reason why I have some of my savings in the US dollar is because of the concept of saving itself. Let me explain. Now, when I have some of my money in the US dollar, I am saving in a currency that I cannot readily spend in my home country, Nigeria. We use the Nigerian naira and nobody will take the USD as a legal tender. I will not be able to spend that money readily. There will be a lot of steps for me to convert that money from the US dollars to the Nigerian naira ready for me to spend. I struggled with saving for a very long time and I tried many different methods of creating accounts where I don't have access. I restrict access, like I don't have an ATM card, I don't have a checkbook or something like that. But yeah, the banks are just down the road and I can just go in and break that streak and touch my savings. But when I started to work as a freelancer and earn in the US dollars and had the idea of saving some of my money in the US dollars was when I really started to build a saving habit because I had this money in a form that I could not readily spend. So it's all about putting that friction between you and your money.
I can't see it. I can't touch it
so that you can save more. The second reason is because the Nigerian economy is heavily dependent on the US dollars. We are an export dependent economy. So pretty much everything that we buy is actually paid for in dollars. I had this argument with someone one time when they were saying, why would you save in dollars when you spend in naira? And I'm like, no, we actually spend the US dollars. We don't manufacture a good percentage of the things that we use in the country. So if you want to buy a car, for instance, you are going to pay in naira at a car dealership here in Nigeria, but the person who you're buying that car from actually paid in the US dollars because they imported that car from the US or maybe China or the UK or somewhere. And then when they get it down to Nigeria, they're going to charge you the dollar or the euro or the pound equivalent. So indirectly, you're actually doing everything in the US dollars if you think about it. So it will be wise for you to have some savings in that currency that your economy is dependent on. But to even put things in perspective a little bit more, if you know you're somebody who buys a lot of equipment like myself, you are a freelancer or you are a digital professional and you often need equipment that may not be found in your home country. So I remember recently I wanted to buy the Elgato teleprompter and I couldn't find it in Nigeria. I had to either buy it on Amazon or directly from the company's website, and they would have it shipped down to me from the US. And I had to pay in the US dollars. I'm not going to pay in naira. Being somebody who buys a lot of equipment that may not be found in my home country, it makes sense for me to have some savings in the US dollars so that when I want to buy stuff that I have to pay for in the US dollars, I can easily access that currency instead of converting my naira to the US dollar at that point at some exorbitant rate. I can just easily pay for the things. Similarly, if you're somebody who travels out of the country a lot, then it will make sense for you to have some of your savings in that currency because when you go there, you will spend that currency. So anything that just keeps you in touch with the international market in terms of buying or selling, you should have some of your savings in a foreign currency like the US dollars. I think it's important to have some savings in the US dollars because the US dollars can easily become an investment for you. Our currency is very volatile and it fluctuates a lot. If you have some savings in the US dollars, there's a tendency that the naira could fall against the US dollars. And historically, it's always been that the naira has been taking a nosedive for as long as we can remember. I've had savings in dollars from 2018 when the naira to the dollar was about 350 naira. So if I had converted that money at that time, I would have gotten like 350,000 naira. That same amount of money that I kept since 2018 is going to give me about 1.5 million naira right now. The concern for some people is that it could also go down and you lose money.
I lost everything!
But that's how it is. It's always a risk. You have to understand that anything that's business or investment will always be a risk. But the thing here is that you are in control. You can decide when to pull out of the market. So if you have, say, $10,000 right now in savings and you're seeing that the naira is doing really well and your $10,000 could become worth less if you keep holding on to it, you can decide to quickly convert it to the Nigerian naira and make a little bit of a loss. So you're in control. But once you change your money to all of your money to the Nigerian naira, you're stuck. Like whatever is happening in the market, you don't have any business. You cannot cash in on that. It's kind of like holding on to crypto. If it's going down, you can decide, okay, cool, I want to sell out now and not make a lot of loss. But if it's going up, you can also make a lot of gain. So it can become an investment at some point. But then also as a bonus tip, for some of us who are freelancers or people who service the international market, and maybe you are a remote worker and you're paid in the US dollars, you know that it's very difficult to source dollars and you are getting it relatively easier than most. You're getting paid in this currency directly. It doesn't make sense for you to exchange all of your money and have it in naira when maybe tomorrow you know that you're going to need the dollar and then you go to the black market and get it for exorbitant prices. I think especially for people who are in the position to get the dollars, diversify your portfolio and your savings and have the best of both worlds. And even if you're somebody who lives in Nigeria, you work in Nigeria and get paid in the Nigerian naira, there are also ways that you can get access to the US dollars for relatively cheap. You can use services like PiggyVest, which is something I'm experimenting with right now. I don't know why I've been sleeping on PiggyVest, but I'm going to do a full-on review of how to use PiggyVest intuitively and to improve your personal finance and savings, and even save in the US dollars to make a bit of a profit over a period of time. You can still have some of your savings in dollars using such services and get, again, the best of both worlds.